Yeah, thanks, Mel. Well, 50 years ago tomorrow, the course of Marshall football and the fabric of the Huntington community was forever changed. In an instant, the tragedy will never fade from the minds of West Virginians, and certainly not one Summers County native in particular.
Marshall was interesting to me because I went to Talcott High School when our colors were green and white. So naturally it was a fix to go to Marshall.
But Hinton's Eugene Jones never imagined becoming a football manager until defensive coordinator Red Dawson held a camp in town.
I told him I was put in athletic department for my work study job. And he said, "You want to be a football manager?" I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Great." They were just great guys. I didn't know anyone in Huntington. So they were my family there for the first 2 or 3 weeks, the only people I knew in Huntington.
And Jones learned quickly how to make friends.
When you go around and knock on a 300-pound lineman's door at 5:30 in the morning telling him to get up, you'll learn a lot about that fella.
He was as happy as could be on the sidelines, pockets full of shoelaces and chin straps.
That was the big equipment in those days.
He was equally excited when it was decided he would be one of 2 managers to travel with the team to East Carolina.
So another manager and myself discussed it outside of Gullickson Hall one day, and he agreed to let me be the one to go.
Until Jones learned his grandmother had passed away.
So I came home for the funeral and missed the trip. What was in my mind was planning on being one of the best days of my life ultimately turned out to be one of the worst days. I got a call that had a phone call, and it was my dad, and he said, "Turn on the TV, have you heard?" And I said, "No," and I turned it on, and we found out what had happened. I remember going to class one of the first days back, and I rounded one of the dorms and was heading toward classes, and a friend of mine from here saw me, and she turned white as could be. She had thought I was on the plane. That's a reality check.
All 75 individuals on board Southern Airways Flight 932 were killed.
Everybody was just walking around with no expression on their face, just sadness everywhere, and nobody really knew what to do. No one experienced things like that anymore.
It wasn't easy, but for Jones, the healing process was helped along by some of the guys he knew best.
There was a camaraderie with those guys. Again, kind of like family, because I traveled with the 70 freshman team, which were the 71 Young Thundering Herd.
And now those guys have become lifelong friends.
The main ones off the 71 team, like Reggie Oliver and Nate Ruffin, and I got to knowing those guys over the years because we were at the same events over and over, and developed some good friendships out of it.
Jones will see some of those friends this weekend as the school and community remembers the 75, 50 years to the day.
I can't comprehend that it's been 50 years. I'm not old enough for it to be 50 years ago.
And when he takes the field in an authentic Herd jersey,
and I'll be wearing this one Saturday,
he might have a smile on his face.
I feel bad about smiling about a sad occasion, but it's not sad. Now it's still a terrible tragedy, but it drew Huntington together as a family, and even a lot of West Virginia.
Yeah, no doubt. A special weekend for Jones and all the other 1970-71 guys coming back. We'll be out there tomorrow in Huntington as the Thundering Herd looks to improve to 7-0 against Middle Tennessee.